We're at Mount Hope Missionary Baptist Church, which was originally Mount Hope Church. But guess what? I bet you all didn't know, and I found this church was originally called the First African American Baptist Church. Later, it was named Mount Hope. But when it was originally established, it was called First African American Baptist Church. A little bit of history for you. We're now in this graveyard, and we know that this land that this graveyard is on was sold to the trustees of Mount Hope Missionary Baptist Church just after the Civil War. Mount Hope organized its church on July 4th, 1867, on Independence Day. I find it ironic that right after the Civil War, 2 years later, it ended up being on Independence. And I'm sure that's what the founders of Mount Hope Missionary Church felt. They felt independence at that time, in which they were establishing an institution in Nanjemoy. The first schoolhouse was also here on these grounds, and it was a school, 2-room for colored students. Right now, I'm walking toward the far end of the cemetery. And in 1869, after they had acquired property from Richard Posey, Caucasian, they had a burial here. And ironically, the first burial was for a United States colored troop who had served in the Civil War. And he came back to Nanjemoy to make his home. But he, along with a lot others, were runaway slaves. And he was one that had ran away and went to Washington, D.C. and joined the U.S. Colored Troops, the first regiment at that time to be officially recognized by the federal government. And his grave is right here. His grave is Charles Henry Brown. Ironically, this is my great-grandfather's grave. I knew nothing about this until later in life. He lived to be 55 years old. He died in 1895. He was born somewhere in the early 1840s. We don't know, and he didn't know exactly when he was born. He was born in St. Mary's, and then, of course, he was sold out to a Gray. The Gray plantation that is right off of Route 6. He and others are listed there in their property records. At the age of 8, he's listed. By the time he got to be in his 20s is when he ran away. This graveyard holds a lot of memories. You'll find a lot of graves here that are handmade. Some we don't even know who's buried there, but for example, this grave with the great big cross, we don't know who's there. But the family recognized that person by putting that unique headstone. Beside it is another unique headstone. And there's another unique headstone. All of these were by African Americans who used their talents and abilities at that time to recognize their loved ones. Also back here, you'll also find a lot of the individuals were born during the 1800s. For example, that's 1875. We go over here a little further. We also find one that was born in 1887. And that is Miss Sally Jennifer. She was the first wife of Mr. Preston Jennifer. Mr. Preston Jennifer was a Sunday school teacher here at Mount Hope. He used to pick up children in his buggy and bring them to Sunday school. He was loved. He was loved so well. The building that we are looking at right now across the graveyard is in his honor, Preston Jennifer. It's a Preston Jennifer building. That's where the school was, on that property right there, where that building is. Let's see if we can find some more older graves as well. Let's look back here. This Daniel Sumner, 1875. Right beside him, we have 1909. Right beside this one is 1886. There's a story behind each one of these persons that is buried here in this gravesite. But one unique headstone that we have here, also erected by, and this piece stands for Potomac River Baptist Association. This association started back in the early 1900s, and it was an association to address the African American churches coming together in unity and fellowship in unity. The person that is buried here was he was the first person who headed up the Potomac River Baptist Association. His widow, the Oak Grove Church, Mount Hope, Zion Church, Pleasant Grove Church, all came together to build this, or to erect this landmark in honor of hold on. Oh God, what is his name? They use his initials. I got to come back and get that. You're going to have to cut that right there.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh God, oh, here it is. I drew a blank. What is that? A creed? It was probably dedicated. Oh, sacred.
Sacred to the memorial.
R.B., and he was a pastor. Pastor R.B. Ward, born in Richmond.
November 6, 1984.
There you go.
Died September 21st, 1920. Age 74
He lived to be
years.
74 years old. All right. So we can hit on inside now.